I watched the last sliver of sunlight disappear beyond the horizon, casting my living room into a tapestry of shadows. It was a typical evening, a cozy night at home alone. With my favorite thriller novel in hand and a cup of hot cocoa by my side, I was ready to immerse myself in a world of words and imagination. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows and sending shivers down my spine. I pulled my blanket tighter around my shoulders, trying to shut out the eerie feeling that crept into the room. I knew it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, the kind of unease that often accompanies solitude. But as the night deepened, that unease grew stronger, casting doubts on my rationality. I forced myself to focus on the pages of my book, trying to escape the grip of the encroaching darkness. But every creak of the floorboards and every whisper of the wind felt like a whisper from something unseen, something lurking just beyond the edges of my vision. A sudden knocking at the front door made me jump, nearly spilling my cocoa. I peered through the window, my heart racing, but there was no one there. Probably just a loose branch tapping against the door, I reassured myself. Yet the gnawing sense of unease refused to dissipate. I locked the door and returned to my reading, my fingers tracing the words, but my mind far from the story. Hours passed, and I realized the house had grown cold. I decided to check the thermostat, but as I reached for the doorknob, a soft whisper echoed in my ears. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. It was faint, almost like a breath, but there was no one else in the house. My thoughts raced, and I convinced myself that it was just the wind playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. I hurriedly adjusted the thermostat and returned to the living room, trying to shake off the unease that clung to me like a second skin. I mustered a nervous laugh, scolding myself for letting my imagination get the best of me. As I tried to regain my composure, a series of footsteps echoed from the hallway upstairs. Heavy, deliberate footsteps, as if someone was pacing. My breath caught in my throat as I stared at the ceiling, my mind racing to find an explanation. Perhaps it was just the house settling, I reasoned. But the footsteps continued, growing louder and closer. Panic gripped me, and I fumbled for my phone, ready to dial 911. Just as I unlocked my phone, the footsteps abruptly stopped. The silence that followed was deafening, punctuated only by the rapid thumping of my heart. I strained my ears, waiting for any sign of movement, but there was nothing. No more footsteps, no more whispers, just the haunting stillness of the house. I debated whether to call the police, but a voice in my head urged me to investigate, to prove that it was all in my mind. Gathering my courage, I climbed the stairs, my footsteps loud in the silence. Every shadow seemed to dance, every corner harbored unseen terrors. I reached the top of the stairs and paused, my heart racing. The hallway stretched before me, doors lining both sides. Each door stood closed, but the air felt heavy with anticipation. I hesitated before the first door, my hand trembling as I turned the knob. The room was empty, just as I expected. I moved on to the next, my breath catching as I reached for the knob. This room, too, was empty. With each door I opened, relief mingled with dread. Until I stood before the last door, the door to my bedroom. I opened the door slowly, my heart in my throat. The room was shrouded in darkness, the only illumination coming from the pale moonlight filtering through the window. And there, in the corner of the room, I saw it, a figure hunched and motionless. My scream caught in my throat as I stumbled back, my phone slipping from my grasp. The figure remained still, shrouded in darkness, but I could feel its gaze on me, cold and unrelenting. I scrambled to retrieve my phone, fingers fumbling as I dialed 911. As I spoke to the dispatcher, the figure in the corner seemed to melt away, dissolving into the shadows. The police arrived swiftly, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. They searched every inch of the house, but they found nothing. No footsteps, no whispers, and certainly no figure. I was left standing in the wreckage of my own fear, the truth of the night eluding explanation. They assured me it was probably a mix of stress and an overactive imagination. But as I looked around my home, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had been with me that night. Something that reveled in the isolation. Something that lingered just beyond the edge of reality, waiting for another opportunity to make its presence known. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing.